Joe Musso, Bryant, McFadden, Emory Hunt here to explore, and I don't know where you guys like to start. I think we might have some coaching points on both the winning and losing side of this one, but Jacksonville gets it done. Not pretty in moments. The game management begs question, but how did the Jags pull this off, Mac?
Well, playing smarter, cleaner football than the Kansas City Chiefs. You look at the penalty ratio. I mean, Kansas City had 13 penalties for 109 yards. Jacksonville was nowhere close to having double-digit penalties. That always will put you in a position to win ball games. And just the opportunistic play. During the pregame show, if you guys didn't watch, you missed a treat. We kind of gave you the rundown of what you should expect to see. Following the Jacksonville Jaguars defensively the entire season, they have been consistent in doing what? Creating turnovers, punching Wilson away, stealing Wilson from the opposing team, and being able to give it to their offense. That was a defining play by arguably the defensive player of the year in the first month of the season, and Devin Lloyd, playing the eyes of Pat Mahomes, creating a turnover, not just creating a turnover inside the red zone area, but putting points on the scoreboard for his team. That was a defining moment. It was basically a 14-point swing in terms of where the game was, with Kansas City potentially scoring a touchdown. So when you look at what Jacksonville has been doing up until tonight and seeing what they did tonight to be able to win this ball game, this should be an entertaining season for them, led by a very, very opportunistic, feisty defense with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
We are of the mixtape era, so it was about party starting. Who's going to start the party? Devin Lloyd started the party for this Jaguars football team because he knew the offense was having its issues in trying to find some consistency to put the ball in the end zone. So, you know what? I'm not just going to go down. I'm not just going to go out of bounds. I'm going to bring this thing all the way back for a touchdown. And what I love about this game for Jacksonville, it shows you they can win ugly. Because normally when teams that we question whether or not are they good or not, they have to win when everything goes their way. This was an ugly ball game, and it shows you that Jacksonville can win these ugly games because everything said, well, this is the same old Jags. These are the same old Chiefs. They're going to come back and win this ball game. Now they went back down the field, found some big plays from Trevor Lawrence, who made two great throws on that final drive, and then they scored the game-winning touchdown when he fell down, got back up, no timeouts, and found a way to get to the end zone. So this was an ugly win for Jacksonville, but that's a good thing for the Jags because you need to see that from teams if they want to make it to the postseason.
4-1 is 4-1. I first, before we go there, want to examine some of what the quarterback managed on this night. Lawrence, he's so physically gifted, but he also does some things that makes the football fan in you want to pull your hair out. Emory, how do you marry the physical gifts with the utter lack of game awareness at times? And I'm not making a point here on the game-winning touchdown. I'm making a point on the delay of game penalty he takes, on the pre-snap stuff, on the inability to take the layups when they're there right in front of his face. How do you marry those two things?
You got to get it to become from the classroom to the practical, sense in terms of, because this is all sports psychology where we've seen guys, I always bring up the Nick Anderson example where great shooter, but missed those free throws in the finals when you needed him to make those free throws. He makes those free throws 9 times out of 10 with his eyes closed, but in that high leverage moment, he didn't. And we saw Kansas City in this ball game make those plays consistently in a need-to-have a situation. So it's not just Trevor Lawrence, it's the entire Jags football team. But what we saw from Trevor Lawrence, to answer your questions, Joe, when you look at him, understanding, I know what to do in this situation, I know where to go with the football, but you have paralysis by analysis. You have too much information, and he freezes up, he clams up. He has to get rid of that and just go out there and play ball. You look back when he was at college, he did that in those high leverage games at Clemson, and then in these bigger games in the league, when every game is a bigger game, he freezes up. If he could just go play free football without thinking, I think we'll see the best. Kind of like what we saw on his last drive.
To whom much is given, much is expected.
True.
Right? He's one of the higher paid quarterbacks in the National Football League. He came into the league years ago with lofty expectations because of his skill set. So then you look at the changing of the guard at the head coaching position with Lim coming over. We all felt like we would see the best Trevor Lawrence. You know why? Because Lim had Baker Mayfield baking for an entire season, and he jump-started an effort in Baker Mayfield that we didn't think we could see. And one would say, in terms of overall quarterbacking talent, you would take Trevor Lawrence over Baker Mayfield. But we haven't seen that come to fruition just yet, and we're still waiting on it. But the untimely mental errors has oftentimes surfaced in his ball game. Early in the game, passing the line of scrimmage about 3 or 4 yards, and you're still throwing the football. Penalty, and you lost the down. Not to mention not being field aware, going for a quarterback sneak and losing the football before you cross the goal line. These are things that could really hurt you in terms of being a playoff caliber team with championship-like aspirations. But the one but with all of that we said, they're still 4-1.
Yeah.
So what happens when he finally hits that stride of mental consistency along with field consistency? They can really be set up to do something real special this season. And hopefully he comes along to the party to play to the level that we believe his talent says he should play at, because they have a coach that has shown the ability to make sweet tea with no sugar.
Now, I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole, but Liam Cohen gets some credit for Baker's play, as does Dave Canales. Canales has gone to a place and not been able to get the best out of the quarterback. Maybe we just give Baker the credit for what Baker Mayfield's doing. That's the only.
The other butt to your butt is the fact that we saw Trevor Lawrence, despite the first 3 quarters, the last drive, he locked in. And therein lies, maybe this is the springboard for him to turn it around.
That's why I lead with the unmistakable physical gifts. The throw down the sideline to Bryant Thomas Jr., some of his ability to extend plays. He's everything you want in the measurables of a quarterback. You see flashes of it, but the consistency, it still needs to come along a little bit. You'd rather learn in the win, The loss is also a learning experience here for the Kansas City Chiefs. What did we learn about the Chiefs on this night? Patrick Mahomes has 300-plus and 50-plus. It's a spectacular statistical game for him there. But, Mac, you took issue with a defensive call late in this game on that 3rd down in the red zone. Spags sending the blitz. Why didn't you like it?
I didn't like it because it's 3rd and 13. A touchdown beats you, right? You still have enough field to defend. You don't want to simplify the reads for Trevor Lawrence. When you send that all-out blitz, you told everyone in the stadium you're bringing pressure. So now as a quarterback with the experience that Trevor Lawrence has, he's able to know exactly where to go with the football instead of allowing him to figure things out while the play is in motion with a potential stunt with the front guys or just playing a generic coverage. Because up until that point, Trevor Lawrence was having issues seeing the football field, especially amongst the 3rd-level guys in the defensive secondary. Do not simplify it because, like I said, you're defending the goal line. You're not defending a play. You're defending the goal line. The only thing that would have beaten you was the thing that beat you, was a touchdown. Live to fight a play, another play. If they convert a few positive yards, you still have an opportunity to bow your back and defend every blade of grass.
You're seeing 4th down.
You're still seeing 4th down, so I didn't like it because he telegraphed everything. We all saw pressure coming. Trevor saw it, so he knew exactly where to go with the football. Never simplify the reads for a quarterback in a die situation because time is on your side along with the pressure that they know they got to complete something, and I think he made it a little easier for Trevor Lawrence. I would have just played a generic coverage. They had success in doing so. Maybe have a stunt, but also have a spy because his legs were showing up in that final game-winning drive.
We talked about this a few seconds ago, right? The paralysis by analysis. So when you have a quarterback that has trouble in figuring things out quickly in a timely manner, the blitz is the best thing for him because, hey, I know I just got to get rid of football. I know it's one-on-one, there's man coverage on the other side, and what he did, he found the one-on-one, drew the penalty, and that got them the ball inside the 1 yard line.
The pressure simplified the options that Trevor Lawrence had at his disposal.
Yeah. And you saw him again when he fell down trying to get the handoff, pressure situation, jumped back up, struggled to get up, got up again, got to the end zone. So you give him more to think about. Therein lies where he struggled. So Kansas City actually helped him out in that regard, and that's why they are in the losing end of the stick.
Yeah, getting him out of the athlete's mind and into the athlete's body brings the best out of Trevor Lawrence, and that we saw late in this game. Broader here on the Chiefs, we walk away from this one, Mac, feeling what about a team that was angling for 3-2 and had the inside track at it, now 2-3, some soul searching to be done, but we know that they have a way of refining in season.
Well, when you have Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid, we always believe you can correct your wrongs because of their success, and they deserve to have that right standing in front of them. But tonight, they allowed one to slip through their fingers. When you look at the moments of being in this ball game, you look at that red zone interception by Devin Lloyd. You don't usually see that happen with Pat Mahomes. You took points off the scoreboard, and they instantly put points on the scoreboard, a defining moment. And then you talk about, the miscues and the penalties. Like I said, 13 penalties for 109 yards. Jacksonville only had 4. We're talking about 109 yards going the wrong direction, by the way, folks. That's not winning football. So on a national stage, we all said this could be a get-right moment for the Chiefs based on what they did last week against the Baltimore Ravens. I felt like this was a good opportunity for Jacksonville to cover the spread. And not only that, but just win because they have been the better team in the first 4 ball games compared to the Chiefs. And also, too, remember, the Chiefs have yet to beat a team that's has an above 500 winning record. So I think when you look at the Chiefs, the sloppiness surfaced in their game tonight that prevented them from winning this ball game.
I will say they still are the most mentally tough football team in the league. How they play in these high leverage situations, and we saw this manifest itself in the first 3 quarters. Talk about the goal line, forced fumble on Trevor Lawrence. You talk about how they answered on that long touchdown drive to get what looked to be the game-winning score. How many times they came up big in these situational football moments where Jacksonville shrunk. And so for Kansas City, you still have faith in them moving forward that they're going to get this stuff done. They're going to be fine. But this was a game where now they have some coaching and teaching tape to go back and say, okay, the 13 penalties, if we take away half of these, we win this ball game by double digits. So the physical part was fine. It's now they let mental mistakes become physical ones, and it manifested into penalties.
And at some point in time, find a running back that you believe could be your featured guy, because you cannot continue to have Pat Mahomes be your leading rusher week in and week out. That's not a key ingredient for success, long-term success, when you talk about having championship-like aspirations.
About 80 yards combined between Pacheco and Hunt in this one. But again, Patrick Mahomes inciting that rushing, it's not what you're looking for. They played from in front, then there was some chase in the middle, then they take advantage in the end. But in the end, it's Trevor Lawrence scoring by feet once again. Lawrence becoming the 2nd quarterback in NFL history to win on his birthday on a Monday night, because our people miss nothing.
Yes. Shout out to Bryant Thomas, too. He stepped in and caught the football today.
I'm going to tell you, it was Richard Todd in 1984, the other.
Jets.
You got it? Emory Hunt.
Look at that. Own it. Alabama quarterback. Look at that.
How about some flowers for Liam Cohen? It's the best start by a Jags head coach in franchise history, winning 4 of their first 5 games. Look at your odds to win the AFC. And, I mean, golf claps.
In the graphic.
11-1. You made the graphic. North of Max Steelers. No, that was a nice one.
That's an R&B one.
And some whisper.
Try to do Cohen.
The Jags 11-1 money. The Chiefs still second shortest number. You take a look at your 3 favorites. Questions abound for the Bills, the Chiefs, and those Ravens.